sadly, the Vegas odds makers were right again. The Vikings fall to the Lions. Oh my God. Let's go. I mean, I knew our team wasn't winning games by a lot, and the Lions have been hot lately. You know, we were 10-2, they were 5-7. But like, come on. I mean, I still couldn't believe that Vegas was giving them the odds to win, and man, it just sure didn't feel good to be wrong watching the game and like having all the odds makers be right, because I don't know, if I would have known that Harrison Smith and Darrisaw would have been confirmed out, that would have maybe changed my mind. But we sure talked pretty hard about it, didn't we, in the podcast, that there's no way that we fall to the 5-7 Lions. And how are you guys kind of feeling now? What are your initial thoughts after that game?
I am sick of this happening. We keep talking about Vegas. Oh, they don't believe in the Vikings. How are we not the favorites here? But they might be onto something, because it keeps happening and I'm getting sick of it.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that we were the underdogs going into the game. I thought, the Lions are, on the upward trend there, winning. So are we. And we have an amazing team. So I thought, I did not think we were going to lose to the Lions. Glad I didn't bet on it, though. And
I mean, there are a lot of people out there that were saying the Vikings are frauds for weeks and weeks and weeks.
They're not frauds. They are not frauds this year.
I know, and neither are the Lions, because
Apparently
I thought
not.
that the Lions were frauds, and I was wrong. They were great. They're everything about it, but really, I think it all
were they great, or was our defense just bad?
Exactly. That's a great point. The defense now has allowed over 400 yards in 5 straight games, and many people online, on Twitter, you name it, the radio, TV, doesn't matter. They're talking about Ed Donato. Everybody knows who he is now. Should he be fired? Should he lose his play calling opportunities? What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, I will never say I think anyone should be fired, because I don't want that karma coming back to me. But yeah, I mean, if you're a defensive play caller and people like know who you are now, I mean, that's not good. It's probably not for a good reason. So, I don't know, man. They are letting up a lot of yards. Like, I mean, Harrison Smith was injured, and I mean, we'll probably get to it later, but like a lot of those touchdowns, I mean, would they have been touchdowns if Harrison Smith was in there? We'll never know. I don't know. Something's got to change on the defense, though, for sure.
Yeah. See, I'm going to go the complete opposite and say get him out of there. He is what needs to be changed on the defense. We're seeing it week in and week out. Teams are just doing whatever they want to us. We can't stop anything. Can't stop the run or the pass. Yeah. And I think all Vikings are just fed up and want something to change. Hell, bring back Zimmer.
Oh man, that's a hot take right there. Josh, maybe to kind of sway you, I don't know if you've seen the numbers, but we are last in total yards allowed with an average of 418.5. We are last in passing yards at 287 average per game. 24th in points allowed, and yet we're 10-3. So
yeah,
how?
I mean, if we're just talking about this last game against the Lions, yes. I mean, we were pretty even when it came to like yards, total yards. I mean, we didn't have as many as the Lions. I don't know exactly what the numbers were, but it was pretty close. And I mean, we didn't
more yards offensively than the Lions.
No, I don't think we did.
Well, Cousins
look that up.
Goff threw, I know, for 330 yards, and I believe Cousins threw for 425 yards. So, unless their run game blew ours out of the water, I think
we completely shut down their run. I mean, they didn't get to rush against us that much. I think Jamal Williams had 16 carries for 37 yards. He was their leading rusher. Or he wasn't their leading rusher. We had one 42-yard rush by CJ Moore against us. But, I mean, Jamal Williams got the ball the most, 37 yards on 16 carries. Like, we didn't, other than that one big run with CJ Moore, like, we shut down that run. But we also let him pass on us. So,
I think
and
Alex,
we were super close.
That was kind of a big thing. No sacks. We're letting him throw.
Yeah, we couldn't generate any pressure, and our secondary just had to defend for too long, and I mean, Jared Goff was just dotting us up. There's nothing you can do about it. And I think the fact that we are on really similar total yardage as the Lions, I think that's the biggest problem out of all of this. And we've seen it with the Jets and all the past couple weeks, like offenses that our offense is way better than, and we're seeing them just do whatever they want to our defense.
Yep. Do you guys think?
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna going back to the yeah. We did not get to Goff at all. Our defense did not get to Goff at all. Again, like Alex was saying, we had 0 sacks, and again with Harrison Smith being injured, I mean all of their passing touchdowns were long passing touchdowns, like right in the middle, right where Harrison Smith would have been. So. Yep. Again, I mean that may have had something to do with it. I think Cameron Bynum didn't even record a tackle in the game, so I don't know. Yeah,
they were definitely taking advantage of our young corners and safeties. Yeah. That's for sure. Alex, what do you think if you were a fly in the wall in the conversations about the defense with the Vikings? What is the main thing they're going to try to work on? Is it the blitz? Is it something else? Is it like Josh said, the passing game? What do you feel like it is?
I think it's problematic on multiple levels. I don't think it's just one thing that needs to change and it'll fix all our problems. I think it's position by position. Each has its own specific needs, and who knows what the way to address this is, if it's trying to bring in free agents or if it's trying to change defensive schemes and how we're calling our plays. But I don't know. Who knows what the answer is to that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a guarantee that they change something going into this Colts game. There's no way they stick with the same thing. I mean, what can you say? It's like if you're like, well, we're not going to blitz as much because we're not going to blitz. You already haven't been blitzing, so why not just blitz? You already aren't going for these certain other plays. Why not do a cover 2 in a situation you may not have? I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't try anything different and just see what happens, because they can't get any worse. You can only go uphill from here. And speaking of uphill, let's transition from the Vikings defense. We could talk about that all day too. A little bit about the offense on the Lions. Let's give them credit where they're due as well. Jared Goff had a good game, threw for 330 yards. And what else did you see that stood out to you on the offense for the Lions?
I mean, I think Jared Goff had a great game. 333 yards, zero interceptions. I mean, he was seeing open receivers and getting the ball to him. I mean, we also had some really bad blown coverages. That touchdown to Jameson Williams being one of them. That was pretty embarrassing. But yeah, no, I think that whole game was basically Jared Goff. I mean, they couldn't run on us, so they gave Jared Goff the ball, and he I don't know, he made some magic.
Yeah, Goff had a great game, and so did DJ Chark, 6 for 94 and a touchdown. Really kind of targeting the weaker side of our corners and secondary. And then, yeah, like Josh mentioned, kind of saw our first action of Jameson Williams, who we had talked about on the preview last week. Wouldn't say he fully came on but I think
full breakout.
Right. I think he definitely showed some flash in a pan and put a lot more people on notice. And yeah, just their offense.
I mean, what happened on that touchdown, though? I was just going to say his touchdown was just terrible. I think they just forgot he was there.
Yeah, I think any one of us would have been expected to catch that pass. Yeah. I mean, and I think that was his only reception, if I recall, in the whole game. It was just that 41-yard touchdown where they didn't even put a defender. I don't know where he was, but he sure. They said that he beat him with speed. I felt like it was just us letting him go. I don't think he's necessarily.
That was his only reception of the game. Yes, you're right, but no, it was a blown coverage completely.
Yep. And they definitely used a lot of receivers too. They had 6 different receivers with multiple receptions. They had 6 to Chark, 6 receptions with Brown. Reynolds had 5. I mean, they were spreading the wealth, and maybe that's something we need to see from some of the Vikings offense a little bit more too. We obviously rely on Jefferson a lot, and Hawkinson lately, we've relied on him a lot. What are you guys saying? Do we need to spread the wealth with the Vikings in the way that the Lions did?
I mean, We spread the ball around too. I mean, Hawkinson had 6 receptions, Thielen 7, Osborne actually he had 5. But Jefferson just had way more than that. I mean, they just don't have a receiver who's as good as Jefferson. That's why they don't have someone getting 11 receptions for 223 yards in a game. But like, again, we'll get to that later. But yeah, I mean, we spread the ball around too, and I think Kirk Cousins does a really good job of that, and the offense does a good job of that.
Yeah, and I feel like the Lions spreading the ball out, like Josh said, has to do with them not really having too many great receivers. You got Amon-Ra, but then you also have some kind of work in progress guys that aren't, really guaranteed starters on many teams. And whereas the Vikings, we got 4 great players that can all do damage. And I feel like we have Jefferson who, why not? If he's going to get 233 yards a game, why not throw it to him 11 times,
Obviously, our offense is strong. Defense struggles, but really offense, like you said, it's JJ. Nobody's got another JJ like it, and no one's really seen something like this in the NFL. He's on pace to smash a lot of records, and in this game, breaking the single game Vikings franchise record with 223 yards, which puts him at 1,500 yards on the season, well on his way. After a career low game in Detroit the first time, this time 223 yards, and he should have had more. He did not step out of bounds on that. Absolutely not. He did not step out of bounds. I've seen enough highlights. I don't know why they called that play dead. How were you guys feeling on that? Do you think he stepped out?
Well, okay. No, I don't. It was tough to say from the angle that I saw. I don't know if I saw every angle actually, but yeah, he should have had more yards and a touchdown if they didn't blow that play dead. But I will say, without that play, I don't know how you can get 11 receptions for 223 yards and not score. Like, that is insane. That is really unlucky.
Yeah.
But that's like a monster game. I mean, that's like, he's so good. He is so good. He's the center of our offense.
If I told you, Alex, going in that game that Jefferson was going to have 223 yards and that Cousins was going to throw for 425 yards, would you say that's a guaranteed win?
I don't know about a guaranteed win, but
not against our defense. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But I definitely would have put all my savings account on Jefferson anytime touchdown score. So, don't bet.
Yeah. So that is crazy. You're right, Josh. To have that many yards and no TD. But now he's at 1,500 yards on the dot for receiving yards for the season. Puts him well on the pace to break the NFL record. Do you guys think he's going to do it? Just to tell you what the record is, actually, Calvin Johnson has 1,964 yards. Jefferson would need to average 116 yards per game to break the NFL record. What do you think? Is it possible? Can he average that?
I mean, absolutely, he can. But what's his average right now? He's got to be close to that.
Well, we'd be 13 games in, so 1,500 divided by 13. Somebody got a calculator?
I mean,
in your head?
We all should be able to do that in our heads, but I'll just do it right now on the calculator.
It is 115. So he basically has to continue the exact pace he's been on.
Yeah.
115.4, but he needs to average 116. So he's got to actually step it up by a yard.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I want to say yes because I'd love to see him break Megatron's record there. But I also kind of don't want to jinx it. So, like, God forbid he gets hurt. That would be terrible.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
so
don't even say that out loud.
Sorry, yeah, I shouldn't have even put that on the
just
universe.
Just talking about how you don't want to jinx it.
I know.
I don't like that.
There were some bad injuries this week, but anyway.
Let's stop talking about injuries.
Sorry. Yeah.
Alex, do you think does it matter to you if he breaks the record in 17 games compared to 16 games? Because obviously they added an extra game this season. Will that be the talk?
I think there's definitely going to be discussion around it.
I think there's going to be asterisks around like every NFL record now because there's 17 games. Yeah. So every record is going to have one more game. So I think there's going to be like records pre 17 game season. And like, you know how the NFL is, they're probably going to add more games to make more money, So it's, yeah.
Well, he needs 432 yards in the next 3 games, and then he'll break the record before even getting to that 17th game.
Yeah, and
Think that's possible?
We may not even see him play week 17, with if we have the division on lock and we don't need the win, can't get the 1 seed or something like that. Like, there's a very high likelihood that he doesn't play week 17. So, I mean, I think 16 is probably all he's going to get.
Do you think we'll see him play if you go into week 17 and he's at 1,650 yards, let's say? Or not 1,600, sorry, 1,950. So he needs 14 yards to break the record. But Tyreek Hill is also tied with him going into week 17. Do you think we see them put him out there and try to break the record and also fend off Tyreek Hill? Because he's right on pace as well. He only has 40 yards less right now on the season than JJ.
I mean, like, I personally, if I was the coach, would, because I know that he would want to. But I also think that, like, the NFL is a business and they protect their, best assets, and they all understand that, they're like, if it doesn't make sense for you to be out there, we're not going to risk you getting injured. We don't really care about records. We care about winning Super Bowls. So, like,
yeah, a Super Bowl will make a franchise a hell of a lot more money than one player getting a record.
Yep, for sure. So hopefully we can get both. That would be nice.
That would be ideal.
Let's go.
That
for
was,
that.
dude.
And
That happened like the year, whatever. I forget what year it was, but that happened when it was like the Patriots were winning by a lot, and they had Gronk out on like a special teams play, and he broke his arm. And everyone was like so pissed at like Bill Belichick for having him out there. So yeah,
we've definitely
can't do that. You can't risk your best players.
Yeah, especially week 17 headed into the playoffs when you're going to get a home field advantage right off the bat. Hopefully. I shouldn't say that either out loud, Alex. Knock on that wood again, but I think we're on pace to get that. It should be all right. But man, Kirk Cousins, we've talked about him a little bit in the podcast. He throws dimes to Jefferson. Was he everything that you expected him to be against the Lions, or is there something more we should see from him coming forward the next 4 games?
I don't think you can ask for more.
I loved how you phrased the question. Sorry. He was everything and more.
Yes. I was setting the stage for someone to romantically put their love out for Kirk Cousins. Yeah. What about Dalvin Cook? I mean, he broke a defender's ankles, it seemed like, on that touchdown. He put on some moves. I heard the broadcast saying he used to play in his grandma's backyard. That was a grandma's backyard type move right there.
It was, and it would have been nice to see more of that, but he only had 23 rushing yards on the game. So Dalvin Cook is on my naughty list right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's also almost Christmas, so hopefully this plays before then.
We've seen some struggles out of Cook lately. Just not being the efficient running back that we've seen in years past. And, only averaging 1.5 yards per carry is abysmal. That is not, you can't have that at the NFL level. So, and we kind of saw that about like a couple weeks back in the Buffalo game. He only had like 20 yards before that big play at the end of the game. And like, I feel like we've seen that a few times from him, and it's getting a little concerning at this point. Like, is it time to start looking to give Madison more touches, or not sure what the answer to that is.
Yeah, I love Madison. I honestly do. I think he's a workhorse. I think Cook to me is the guy that just looks for that gap, and if he finds it, he finds it. If he doesn't, he just goes down. Where Madison's the guy that's going to get you 5-10 yards over and over, but not have that big break.
And I think Cook was like more effective when he just got like way more touches, and that was probably pre-Jefferson era. And he was that. I mean, before he was just that guy who got like 20 something carries a game, and they just ran a lot. And now, I mean, their offenses, they're Kirk Cousins and Jefferson, and they're just, there's just a lot more confidence in the passing game, so they're passing a lot more.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'd have to look at the stats.
You're right, for sure. It feels like they're passing a lot more than they used to. No doubt. They're letting Cousins open up the door a bit more. They even let Cook try to make a pass. It did not work out. He tried to fake a run into the end zone and flip it forward to Johnny Munt, backup tight end. What do you guys think of that?
I mean, it wasn't like the best fake run. He didn't really sell it, but also, I mean, it just took like a fraction of a second too long to get open. I think if he just, when he saw that, he should have just like tucked the ball and ran, but I don't know. It happened so fast. I'm not a NFL running back throwing passes in the end zone, so I'm probably not the best person to criticize him for this. But like, I don't know. It was just it was a questionable play call, I guess. I think they probably could have just handed it off to him, but let him run it in. But trying to do that, and like, they went for the 2-point conversion too with Thielen. With another, just like a couple calls where they were like, man, like, should we have been passing it there or just giving it to Cook and letting him
Let me ask
power
you guys, too, based off of that, are those the kind of calls, the attempted pass to Johnny Munt that turned into a fumble that they got the ball back and the 2-point conversion that didn't work out, are those the kind of calls that you blame KOC or some that you like the creativity but it just didn't work out? And if it did work out, would we be talking about it like, wow, this is amazing, you see what they did, or would we still be like, what were they doing there, whether it worked out or not?
I'm gonna speak for every NFL fan in the world. If those calls worked out, we would have all just been like, that was awesome, of course we did that because we scored, it was amazing. But when that's the thing, it's like when they don't work out, you get criticized harshly on them. So
yeah, hindsight is always going to be 2020. You look back at a play. If it worked, it's great. If not, why the hell would you do that? And I think it's always quite a gamble taking the ball out of your quarterback's hands and letting someone else throw it, especially when you're paying the guy $30 million a year. But it's
they're letting JJ throw it too. It's like they're.
Oh, that's JJ. JJ can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. Even if he threw an interception, JJ could throw a pick six, and everyone would be like, "Yeah, but he's awesome."
We're still going to post a video saying he is him.
Yeah,
for sure. I think I agree. I think I agree with you, both of you guys, that hey, if they work out, we're talking about it. We're talking it up, and I don't know. I don't want to be somebody that hates on KOC for trying some new things, for going for it, for taking the opportunities when you have it. And if it worked, they probably practiced that play, I would assume, at practice that week. And we're like, hey, we're going to pull this out when we need to. In the same way that the Lions, I'm sure, practiced that pass to the linebacker? Or, no, who did they throw to?
Penei Sewell.
Yeah. It also, like, it's a little unfair, too, because, like, if Dalvin Cook didn't fumble on that play and turn the ball over, we probably would have scored anyway. So.
Right.
So yeah, it's not. I mean, that's more just Dalvin Cook fumbling was terrible.
Yeah,
not KOC's call.
Yep.
I mean, KOC knew that if it didn't work out, they had another chance. He wasn't expecting Cook to fumble.
Yeah, and I also think it's the same thing where if Sewell drops that ball, we're now talking about the Lions. Like, what were they doing? Are you gonna seriously throw it to that guy? Like, but they worked. So now you're talking him up. It was a great play. All right, well. We may have lost. Cousins did great. JJ did great. The defense sucks. Ed Donatel, we'll see what happens with him. If he, this Colts game headed into Saturday at noon, if the defense sucks, Ed Donatel, do we see him out on Sunday? What are some of your predictions? Do we see a Vikings clinch? Are we going to see JJ break Randy Moss's single season Vikings record? And what do you guys think? Colts game.
I feel like if we see another defensive performance like that against a fairly subpar Colts offense, that might be the wraps for old Ed.
Yeah. Josh, prediction of the game?
I think the Vikings I think we're going to win, obviously. But yeah, I'm hoping the defense steps up. I'm pretty confident though that even if the defense kind of sucks this game, our offense will still be good enough to beat the Colts. So,
yep. Well, hopefully the defense doesn't suck and Ed Donatel keeps his job. That's always good for everybody. But,
I think it's going to take more than like one game for him to keep his job. Dude, like one good game against the Colts. I think they're going to be like, well, we're going to make our decision on the next game against the Giants. Or who do they play after that? Do they play the Giants?
I think, the Giants next. Yeah. They have Colts, Giants, Bears left, I believe.
Okay,
yeah.
No, Packers.
Oh, yeah, Packers are on the list, too. We have 4 games left.
Right.
Yep. So, we'll be doing predictions, talking about speculation about Ed Donatel, talking about the defense, the offense, JJ's records. In our next upcoming podcast, we'll be breaking down the Colts game. Make sure to check that one out. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter as well during the game. We'll be tweeting some stuff out. I'll actually be at the game. I'll make sure I'll post some photos, or maybe I get an exclusive video of JJ behind the scenes. Who knows, right? Maybe he invites me on the field. Crazier things have happened. Anyway, Hot Dish.
I don't actually think so. Yeah,
I think that might be the craziest thing.
I think you're right. Leave a comment in here too, and we'll discuss it on our next podcast. Skol Vikes.